So, there's a lot to get to between the Chris and Paul show, the the Chris and Paul podcast. I know you do some off Broadway stuff. You've got the workshops. Let's start from the beginning of you getting into comedy and how that all started. Because you live in Connecticut, right? Am I?
Now it is.
Now you
yes.
do. Okay.
I was living in New York City for 15 years. And I moved back just before COVID.
Oh,
Got lucky.
good timing.
Yeah. Because I would have got COVID right away.
Oh,
I know. I'm like, yeah, I'm still on the subways. I don't care. I like the polls.
I was actually at an audition in the city the weekend of the shutdown, like when it all started, when all the madness started. I was in the belly of the beast, and somehow I escaped with no COVID. But anyway, enough about me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
A lot right there.
It was a lot. So sorry.
No. Let me see. What I want to say we met 2003 or 2004.
That's right. It was about 2003 or 4. Yep.
3, 4. Okay. And I had no idea what I was doing. I knew a few things. I wanted to perform. I didn't know how. I didn't know where. I was at that time, very, very influenced by Kids in the Hall.
Yes.
And Chris Farley. And I had a lot of, my first experience to comedy was the Three Stooges.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Good for you for mentioning the Three Stooges. They don't get enough love anymore. They really were pioneers for physical comedy and the comedy, our brand of comedy.
It was angry, but it was brilliant. It opened my eyes, and it allowed me to be silly in school. And I learned about the Three Stooges in 2nd grade because I sat next to this kid, Pino Soro, who I still once in a while keep track in the social medias.
Good.
So every once in a while, we'll give a little wave,
little hello,
and a little hello, or send a Three Stooges meme.
Perfect.
And he says to me, "Hey, did you ever watch the Three Stooges?" And of course, I wanted to fit in, so I lied.
Right.
And said, "Yeah, but since I moved to a new school. Since I moved, I don't know what channel it's on. So tell me." And he did. And I went home and told my mom, "Hey, wake me up at 6:30 morning because I want to watch the Three Stooges."
I love that.
And then I came in and like, "Hey, Pino, did you watch the Three Stooges?" And we just hit it off, started talking. And my first episode was a Shemp.
Okay.
I didn't discover Curly until maybe a few weeks later. And I was like, wow. Shemp, still think Shemp is great. It's his own thing.
Sure.
He was outshouted by Curly because he was out for so many years. Yeah, that's how I got it. And then when I met you, I was probably in the city for, let's say, a year or two. But before I went to the city, I was actually in a play called The Three Stooges, which is a Christmas Carol with the Three Stooges.
That's phenomenal.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to play this role. And that was at this place called Curtain Call, where I met Chris in 99. So I met Chris in 99. I did the show in 2001 and 2002, I believe. So just when I'm just trying to figure out acting and comedy. And I remember auditioning, and I did my impression of Curly, and I made it to the final audition, and the director said, "If we cast you, would you shave?" Yes. I
absolutely will.
Yeah. So because now I got into that show, the guys who directed it started opening my eyes up to. I knew Abbott Costello. I knew a little bit of Laurel and Hardy.
Sure.
I didn't know there was a whole world that I didn't meet, like Buster Keaton, Chaplin, Harold Lloyd. I mean, all these great comedians of the past, Sid Caesar, Red Skelton. I started knowing. I was like, oh, so now it just started changing my mind.
Sure.
These guys can get laughs without being crude. And I'm not against being whatever. But I thought it's like you have to work harder to get a laugh without saying anything. And I loved that. So I was trying to figure that out when I met you. So I was probably all over the place, so I couldn't tell you
No,
what the thing did.
but you
But
know,
you could.
no, that checks out because that's why I said a young Belushi. You were like an old soul to me. Like I could tell that you got it. Like you had all the characteristics of those traditional classic pioneer performers. And so obviously you have talent, but obviously that's what you were watching because I could see that, in your act. And I think that's awesome, man. I think it's great that it's 2025 and people are still out there paying homage to the greats that, we all wouldn't be here doing it if it wasn't for those guys,
Right, of course.
Absolutely.
And I remember when you were on stage and you had my humor because you were doing some physical stuff yourself.
Yes, I was very physical.
I don't remember where you were mimicking, but it was funny. And the way you were just like wriggling your body to something, I
Yes.
don't know what, but I was laughing my ass off.
You were the only one laughing. I think, yeah, hello. I think I may have been doing like, God, this is awful. I think I was doing different porn positions. I think I was talking about how like people watch porn and like they, it used to be just missionary and now it's like they're getting so creative. And I think I got up on the stool. That sounds like something I would have been doing then. But either way, I do remember the casting director, we got done, and I basically cornered him before he left, and I was like, look, I have dreamt to be on SNL. Please, like, just give me that shot. And scared the shit out of him, but it worked, because I got on twice as an extra. But that's when I met you, and then as the years went on, we stayed in touch. And it kind of seems like I said, Paul Valenti, sketch comedy, stand-up, actor, you're doing it all. But it seems like the Chris and Paul show has kind of been your main gig for a long time. And you guys were on, just a few years back, you were one of the finalists on the NBC show Bring the Funny. Which blew my mind because, again, we just talked about, I knew you for all these years. I knew your talent. And then all of a sudden, you're on an NBC show. I'm like, yes. Finally, dude, he fucking got his break. And, I was so proud. And it's funny because I have a friend of mine, her and her husband watched the show and they were talking to me about it. And they mentioned, they're like, oh, I loved this Chris and Paul guy. I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm like, that's how I found out you were on the show. So I turned, yeah, no shit. And I catch the highlights. I'm like, that's my buddy Paul. I can't believe it. So they thought it was the coolest thing that I knew you. And then I told him he's not that cool, but I'm kidding.
He hides from me. He doesn't answer any of my texts.
Right, that's right. I know I'm bad at that.